Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Guardians franchise here on MLB The Show 22. We are currently in April of season number 5, and so far the team has been pretty solid with a record of 14-8. There have been a lot of things the team has done well this year. We're second in batting average, first in on-base percentage, sixth in ERA. So we're hitting for good average, we're getting on base, and we're not allowing a lot of runs. The problem is the slugging percentage is 17th. Our power this year has been pretty much non-existent. It has gotten better the last couple of weeks, but we're really not consistently hitting homers or extra base hits, and that's a problem. It's early, I don't want to panic, but as you can tell here, pretty much everybody other than Jesus Sanchez is hitting for good average, but I think we only have 2 people with more than 3 homers, which through 22 games is not exactly ideal. In terms of pitching, it's been a mixed bag. A lot of the youngsters really have not produced, and neither is Shane Bieber. However, the middle of the starting rotation has been really good. John Means has been impressive, Hunter Green's having another great year, and Dylan Cease looks like a legitimate Cy Young candidate in the American League. In 5 starts, Cease is 5-0, 36 innings pitched. That's more than 7 innings per game, which is unbelievably impressive, and a whip at sub-1. Again, it's early, but I'm very optimistic with his performance so far, as he's currently second for the Cy Young, only behind the man who replaced him as the ace in Chicago, Shane McClanahan. So with Dylan Cease playing this well, I wanted to make a point to use him today, and we do have an interesting matchup here in early May against the Yankees. So I wanted to simulate up to that point. So we've got a series against Minnesota. We'll get a look at the Twins today, don't worry, along with the A's and the Reds, and those 2 teams are both hilariously awful, particularly Cincinnati. So we ended up doing pretty solid. We ended up going 5-3 in that stretch. We didn't sweep any of the series, losing 1 game in all of them. The Twins won this game 12-7. That's a lot of offense. Minnesota hit the ball very well, and our pitching was not good. Kyle Lewis homered twice, but Daniel Espina really struggled, allowing 6 runs in under 5 innings of work. And it looked like he was pitching well early on, too, with 4 scoreless, but it kind of fell apart. We won this game against the A's 13-11, so shout out to the offense for showing up. We had 4 home runs. J-Ram went deep twice, along with Pena and Sanchez, but the pitching was not great, and it was Shane Bieber. Again, 3 scoreless, but he kind of struggled. Another pitcher who has not performed well is Fernando Villegas, who we brought up after a great spring training, but he's been horrible. He has to get sent down. Taj Bradley's also been pretty bad, but I'm a little bit more encouraged by his performance so far. It's only 5 innings, so I'm not ready to necessarily worry. And then replacing Villegas will be Gavin Williams. He'll be entering the bullpen after a strong start in AAA. So hopefully the bullpen can get a little bit better as we hop into this series here against the New York Yankees, a team who I have a feeling we will meet in the playoffs. And fittingly, the first game of the series has Dylan Cease on the mound, who has lost the game since we last talked about him, but he has still been fantastic through 6 starts this year. With the Toronto Blue Jays looking a lot worse, I really think the Yankees are the team to beat in the AL East, and I think there's a really good shot we face off against these guys in October, assuming we make it. These 2 teams have some history. Remember in Season 3 when the Yankees had the best record in baseball and we stunned them in the ALDS en route to our Cinderella World Series title? There's a look at both lineups 1-9 on the mound. For the Yankees will be the young righty Deivi Garcia, who in 6 starts has been pretty mediocre this year. 3-3, 5.4 ERA, 1.45 whip. Not dreadful, but certainly not all that great. Keep in mind, Yankee Stadium is a Mickey Mouse Little League ballpark, so you should expect to see some homers and expect to see some power today as Kyle Lewis hits a single into right center. Thought about going 2, but he will retreat back to first. Kyle Lewis quietly is having himself another very good start to the year, looking like he was worth that contract extension Cleveland gave him in the offseason. Ketel Marte draws a walk, so now there's 2 on, 2 away for the first baseman Josh Bell, hitting nearly .350 through the first month of the year, and he hits this one high and deep into center field, back at the track, at the wall. It is caught. Off the bat, I was sure that was a home run, and especially being here at Yankee Stadium, where any ball that goes beyond 100 feet in the air feels like a homer, but that one was not to be. Here's a look at Dylan Cease, who through 6 games has been phenomenal. He signed a 1-year prove-it contract in the offseason with the Guardians, and boy, is he proving it. Jorge Polanco goes down on the changeup, the former Minnesota Twin, with the first out of the inning. Now there's a runner on second, one away for Judge as the runner heads for third, and he's out. Thrown out by the catcher, Luis Campusano. That's the young infielder, Jalen Harlem, who was trying to steal, but he was unsuccessful. Following pitch on its way to the big fella, Aaron Judge, and he goes down on the high slider. Good inning of work for Dylan Cease as it remains scoreless now. Let's move into the third. Still no score. Kyle Lewis up. He had a base hit in his first at-bat of the game, the only Guardian with a base hit so far, and he'll reach base again, drawing a walk. So with one away, Lewis is aboard, and that'll bring up Ketel Marte, who also drew a walk in his last at-bat. 2-1 pitch. Marte gets a hanging one up in the zone, and he's going to capitalize. That should be able to score Kyle Lewis. Rounding third, headed to home. It'll be an RBI double for Ketel Marte, and the Cleveland Guardians are on the board first as they lead 1-0. Great swing there by Marte to put Cleveland on the board, as that'll bring up Jose Ramirez, the reigning American League MVP. He goes down on a 12-6 curve. Jose Ramirez is having another really good year. Maybe not MVP-esque, but so far his OPS is lining around where it finished last year. That'll bring up Josh Bell. Full count pitch, and he draws a walk. So now there are 2 runners aboard here and 2 outs. A huge opportunity for Jesus Sanchez, who really has struggled this season, hitting sub 200. And he swings at a pitch that he really shouldn't have. A circle change absolutely in the dirt for strike 3. Let's go to the bottom of the third. Dermis Garcia up for the Yankees, and he goes down on the very high fastball. That pitch was not even close to the strike zone, but he swings it in anyway. Why? I don't know. Bottom 4, still 1-0. It's Jalen Harlem up for the Yankees as he gets that one past the glove of Ramon Ramiro for a base hit. Jalen Harlem has wheels. This kid is fast and electric on the base passes as he looks to head for second. Already gunned down stealing earlier today, but this time he's a little bit more successful. And now in scoring position for Judge, who goes down on the 4-seam fastball. Big pitch there by Cease for the second out of the inning. Runner on second, got to be prepared for the steal, and that'll bring up George Springer, who strikes out as well. 4 scoreless for Dylan Cease. He sure looks like an ace-caliber pitcher so far as we move into the 5th. Kyle Lewis is up for the Guardians. He's had a very productive day so far, and he's going to keep it going. Lewis gets that one to hit off the wall and left for what looks like a double. A single, a walk, a run, the only run of the game, and a double through the first 5 innings for Kyle Lewis. Talk about productivity. He's now at third, 90 feet away from home for Jose Ramirez, who just needs to put this ball in play. And, well, I think he puts it a little more than in play. It goes to the warning track in right center, caught by George Springer. But Kyle Lewis should be able to score his second run of the game with ease on the sacrifice fly. And the Cleveland Guardians are now up 2-0 here in the Bronx. That'll bring up Josh Bell. Lines it to first. What a play by Dermis Garcia, who flips it over to Diego Garcia to get the out and end the inning. Not a bad frame, though, for Cleveland as they score another run and lead 2-0 as we go into the bottom of the 5th. Ryan McMahon is up for New York. The 2-2 goes down looking on the fastball. This Dylan Cease pickup truly has been a remarkable one for Cleveland. I know it's early, only 7 starts in, but he looks like the real deal. And right when I'm gassing him up, he allows a dinger. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is fair. Dermis Garcia with the home run for the Yankees, and they cut the lead in half. It's now 2-1. Garcia with his 8th home run of the year. The Yankees offense just had to get something going here because they've had nothing going for them so far today. And there you go. The home run by Dermis Garcia puts him back in the game. 2 away for the catcher, Carson Kelly, and he will get right back to what the rest of the Yankees lineup has been, out on the slider. Let's go to the 6th now. The lefty, D.L. Hall, is in for New York. He has been pretty bad this year, a batting average of around 400 allowed and an ERA in the 7s. He allows a walk to Jesus Sanchez to start the inning, so Cleveland already has an early base runner. And that'll bring up the young third baseman Alvaro Pena, who started the year off strong. He's cooled off a little bit as of late, but he's going to make a play here as that one goes into the gap out in right center. Likely 4 extras that should be able to score. Jesus Sanchez, the throw to the plate from Harlem is not in time. An RBI double for the young 20-year-old third baseman Alvaro Pena, making it 3-1. That'll bring up the lefty killer. Ramon Ramiro skies it in the left. It should be caught. A rare out for Ramon Ramiro when facing off against lefties. I really don't know why they put DL Hall in the game in this situation, knowing that Ramiro would be up, but they got him out, so I guess it works out. George Valera's up with 2 away. He hits this one into the gap in left center. That one will score Pena. An RBI double for George Valera, making it 4-1. Cleveland has not had any homers today, but they're hitting for consistent extra base hits, and they've been clutch with runners on base, constantly capitalizing. Bottom 6 would go easy for Cease as he would get a 1-2-3 inning, finished off by a strikeout of Jorge Polanco, and it remains 4-1 into the 7th. Jose Ramirez has been pretty quiet, trying to change that here as he rips that one into left center field for a base hit. If not for the shift, they probably get him out. But that ball split between the shortstop and the second baseman for a single. That'll bring up Josh Bell now, the 2-2 with 1 away. Bell really struggling against lefties over the past year or so, but he gets a base hit here into left. So Cleveland is continuously getting base runners, looking to extend this lead. As a new lefty is in the game, Jordan Montgomery checks in for the Yankees. He's been a little better than DL Hall this year, but really not by much, with an ERA in the mid-5s as he faces off against fellow lefty Jesus Sanchez, who quickly grounds into an inning-ending double play. So Cleveland does not get anybody across in this inning as it remains 4-1. Dylan Cease still in the game here in the bottom of the 7th as George Springer grounds that one to Bell, who deflects it. Going to be a close play, and Bell never got it out. They're going to rule that a base hit, and I guess it wasn't a bad play by Bell up until where he just chose not to throw it. That'll bring up Ryan McMahon now, flies it into shallow center, caught by Ramiro. So the questionable defensive play by Josh Bell proves to not be an issue, and so it remains 4-1 going into the 8th inning. Alvaro Pena drove in a run in his last at-bat, looking to do some more damage here early as that one's down the line and fair, likely for another extra base hit. Rounding first, headed to second, slides in safely. Wow, he came in quick. Pause. So Pena is in scoring position with nobody out as Cleveland hopes to extend the lead. Pena still on second, 2 away for Eliezer Alfonso, and he will go down on the check swing. So Montgomery gets through the 8th, and so it remains 4-1. Daramis Garcia up for the Yankees. He singles up the middle into center. Garcia homered in his last at-bat, gets another hit here. As you can see, Dylan Cease is still in the game. Another outing of 7+ innings. He's at over 100 pitches as Bell deflects that one, flips it over to Cease quickly for the second out of the inning. Garcia is now in scoring position. We'll see if the Yankees can drive him in with Jalen Harlem, who has a couple of hits today. This one goes into right, and Lewis cannot make the acrobatic catch. Garcia scores while Harlem is on his horse. He could be thinking about 4. Rounding third, headed home for the inside to Parker, and he is out of there. The Guardians gun him down to end the inning, but not before the Yankees drive in a run, making it 4-2, and that will likely end Dylan Cease's day. 8 innings, 2 earned runs, and if Cleveland can hold on, the W as we go into the 9th. Kyle Lewis up for Cleveland. He goes down looking on the fastball. Jordan Montgomery quietly is pitching really well, keeping the Yankees afloat in this game, as that'll bring up Jose Ramirez with 2 away. The 1-1, and this one is going to be chopped up the middle. Harlem makes the play, so the Yankees know what they got to do. They got to drive in at least 2 to tie the game, but there's one problem. Even though they got the heart of the order due up, they have to face off against Emmanuel Clase, who has been the best reliever in baseball really over the last 5 years. He's made the All-Star team every single season in this series. He's going to make it again this year as he shows Jorge Polanco that nasty cutter inside for a strikeout the first of the inning. That'll bring up Aaron Judge. He also strikes out on the cutter. Clase is an impending free agent this offseason, and the Guardians have a tough decision with him because he's so good, but he is a reliever. As Springer on the cutter grounds it to second, Ramiro makes the play, and that is your ball game. The Guardians win it by the final score of 4-2. The offense made plays when they needed to, and the pitching was fantastic. Dylan Cease with 8 excellent innings, only allowing 2 runs, and then Emmanuel Clase shutting the door. Our offense wasn't great, and my concern about our power didn't get any better today because we didn't homer, and we're playing at a Mickey Mouse Little League ballpark. But we hit for a good number of extra base hits, and obviously the pitching was great. The Yankees lineup, particularly their stars like Judge and Ohtani, were all pretty quiet. So overall, a good performance there. I really want to take a look at the Minnesota Twins because they have definitely been exceeding expectations in the AL Central. They have been a doormat the last couple of years. All they needed to do was pick up Yordan Alvarez, and now they're good. Speaking of teams in our division, the White Sox are trading Andrew Vaughn of the Diamondbacks for Frank Schwindel and Alek Thomas. So they're getting a downgrade at first, but they're also getting their Luis Robert replacement in center field. We did not do very well in the games we simulated, losing the last 2 against the Yankees. We split against the Tigers, including losing this game 18-3. Yeah, Detroit's offense completely went off. Everybody except for Paredes drove in at least 1 run. Daniel Espino pitched horribly. And then Espino had another really rough outing, allowing 12 runs and a loss to the Tampa Bay Rays. Espino is pitching horribly this season, and I think it's time that we end the experiment with him and have him go down to the minors because this is quickly becoming a disaster, not just with him, but Gavin Williams isn't doing well. McGreevy and Bradley continue to be very inconsistent. All of these young pitchers are not doing well. So Ricky Watkins and Rambo Rodriguez will be joining the big league team while Espino and Gavin Williams get sent down. Williams is out of minor league options, so we're going to put him on waivers. He was on waivers after spring training, and nobody picked him up, so I'm confident he won't be signed anywhere. It would be nice to trade for a pitcher, but remember, we are broke, so we literally cannot do that. I think Ricky Watkins will be really good in the starting rotation. I'm very confident in him. I think he's going to be really solid. McGreevy's going to move to a middle relief role with Taj Bradley, who I think will start to play better. His whip is only at 1.18, and Rambo will be the long reliever. So I wanted to play this last game against the Twins, get a look at Watkins, and unfortunately Gavin Williams has been claimed off of waivers by the Washington Nationals. It's not ideal, but I don't think it's the end of the world either. Gavin Williams really hasn't progressed here. He hasn't gotten better, if we're being completely honest, since he made his big league debut 3 years ago. So I think for both the team and the player, it might be best just to move on. We would take 2 of the first 3 against the Twins. This one loss I am a little concerned about because Hunter Green pitched pretty poorly. He allowed 6 runs in 2 2/3 innings, and he really is not pitching all that well over the past couple of weeks. Shout out to Rambo Rodriguez, though. 5 1/3 scoreless. He was great. So let's hop into this last game here against the Twins, who are looking to even up the series at 2. And most of all, we're going to get to see Ricky Watkins' big league debut. It should be a lot of fun. Watkins was a 3rd-round pick in our very first draft of the series, hailing from Jamaica. He's a left-handed starting pitcher who has really produced in both AA and AAA, and I think we should have called him up at the beginning of the season because I think he has been ready, and now I think we need him more than ever to really produce. In 7 starts at AAA Columbus, he went 4-0 with a 2.27 ERA, a .9 whip, and a strikeout-to-walk ratio at 30-11. That's pretty good. Here's a look at both lineups. Regular starters for the Guardians. Ludwig Seiferson, the lefty, is on the mound for the Twins. In 8 starts, I'm just going to put it bluntly, he's been horrible. 9.58 ERA, 2.10 whip. And if you look at his stats throughout his career, he has been hilariously terrible. 258 earned runs allowed. That's really bad. He has a career ERA nearly at 7 and a career whip at nearly 2 in like a pretty big sample size. 75 starts. So he is just flat out awful, and hopefully the offense can capitalize because he stinks. Ketel Marte leads the game off. He hits this one high and deep into center field. Back at the track, at the wall, it is gone into the second deck. Well, that's a start. Ketel Marte makes it 1-0 with the homer, his 7th of the year, 437 feet, a nuclear missile. off of the bat. And so far, not a good start for Ludwig Syverson, who continues his rough career, if we're being completely honest. That'll bring up Ramon Ramiro, the lefty killer, who will get this one to fall into right field. It kind of jammed off his bat, but it still nearly made it all the way to the fence. And that'll end up as a double for Ramiro, who is on scoring position. The Guardians have come out the gates on fire today as Jose Ramirez lines it into left center. That one will one hop off the wall for an RBI double as Ramiro will score. And the Cleveland Guardians now lead this game 2-0. So a quick start offensively for the Guardians off of the struggling Ludwig Syverson, as that'll bring up Kyle Lewis. He hits this one into the gap. That should score another run as it deflects off the top of the wall. Lewis will hold up at second for a double, and it is now 3-0 with still nobody out. The Guardians' offense is really making Ludwig Syverson work today. That'll bring up George Valera, hitting .384 right now. He's been great this year. Lines it to third. The Twins nearly turn 2 as they finally get their first out of the day. No bullpen action yet for Minnesota. That could change soon if things get ugly. As Dansby Swanson comes up to the plate, he's going to draw a walk. So now there's 2 runners aboard here for Jesus Sanchez, who still is not playing well, hitting .195 on the year. But he belts that one down the left field line and fair. 1 run scores. It'll be an RBI single for Jesus Sanchez, as there are now runners on the corners, and the Guardians lead this game 4-0 with an opportunity to extend the lead even more. It's Zane Rowley up. He hits it down the line and fair. Make it 5-0 as Swanson scores. Sanchez advances to third. He is safe. Still runners on the corners. Still 1 out. Minnesota's got to make a pitching change. Ludwig Syverson is looking awful, and indeed, manager Dave Roberts is going to come out and take the ball away from him. You got to kind of feel bad for the kid, but look at it this way. The Minnesota Vikings season starts in about 3 months, and I heard they need a mascot. Ludwig Syverson looks like he'd be perfect for the job, and Lord knows he'd be better at that than pitching for the Twins. Justice Sheffield will come into the game to replace him as the long reliever as he faces off against the young catcher, Eliezer Alfonso, who grounds it to short. 6-4-3, inning-ending double play. You see how easy that was, Ludwig? He faced off against 8 batters and got less outs than Justice Sheffield did, who faced off against 1 batter. That inning kind of clouded us from the fact that Ricky Watkins is making his big league debut. 6'3", 224 pounds, 22-year-old lefty from Jamaica, as he will start with a weak dribbler. Alfonso makes the play for the first out of the inning. Good start to Ricky Watkins' big league career, but now he has to face off against Yordan Alvarez. Who's your daddy? As Alvarez hits that one into left, looking ahead for second. The throw from Sanchez is in time. They gunned him out. What a throw in left by Jesus Sanchez, and that'll wrap up the first. A big start for Cleveland. They lead 5-0 as we go into the bottom of the second. Ian Happ leads off the inning for the Twins. He singles into center. So Minnesota gets themselves another base runner as they look to try to get back into the game here against the young 22-year-old lefty. Ragnar Eriksson goes down looking on the slider for the first out of the inning. Ricky Watkins' first big league strikeout. He's not really a strikeout guy. He wins more with his ability to make you put the ball in play, as he does get another strikeout to end the inning on the catcher, Chakanawara. Let's go into the third. Justice Sheffield pitching really well right now, and Kyle Lewis is going to look to change that. Lewis hits it high and deep into center field. Happ at the track at the wall. It's gone. Solo home run for Kyle Lewis, and the Guardians are back on the board. They now lead this game 6-0. Lewis with his 11th home run of the year, which leads the team, rounding the bases. What a start for the Cleveland offense as they get right back to business from the first inning. George Valera then will draw a walk, so he is now aboard, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Dansby Swanson. Full count pitch on its way from Sheffield, and Swanson crushes it into left field. That one will go into the top deck for a 2-run shot. Good Lord, that ball went a long way. What a swing from Dansby Swanson, his 4th home run of the year. It only goes 414 feet, but that one looked like it went way farther from the eye test. Nonetheless, the Guardians will now take an 8-0 lead. Pure dominance, but they're not done. Jesus Sanchez is now 2 for 2. He's had a rough year, but he's off to a good start today with a base hit up the middle into center field. That'll bring up Zane Rowley now. Drove in a run in his last at-bat. And Rowley belts it up the middle for a single. So that is, 5 consecutive batters to start the inning on base. The first 3 scored. The next 2 are both on. I'm a little bit surprised Sheffield is still in the game as he does strike out Eliezer Alfonso on the circle change for the first out of the inning. So that'll bring us back to the top of the order, and Ketel Marte, who has a full count here with runners on first and second and 1 away. And Marte will single into right. Runners are going to hold up, so the bases are now loaded with 1 out and a real opportunity for the Guardians to completely break this game open. It's Ramon Romero who hits it high and deep and gone. A grand slam for Ramon Romero, and it is now a 12-0 ball game. Romero with his 3rd home run of the season. It's a grand salami, and the Guardians are now in the double figures with their 12-0 lead. Sheffield taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by Edward Cabrera, a former member of the Guardians organization. And look at the numbers. 22 innings, 0 earned runs allowed. That is really impressive. I don't know why they don't have him in the starting rotation with how he's doing in comparison to Ludwig Siversen. Cabrera facing off against Jose Ramirez, and he will draw a walk. I'm curious to see which battle is going to win. Cleveland's impressive red-hot offense, or Edward Cabrera, who is not allowed to run in 22 innings this year as he strikes out Kyle Lewis on the circle change. Lewis started the 3rd inning rally with a homer to lead the inning off. And then George Valera is now up. He's going to single into left. So the Guardians are getting some base runners here off of Edward Cabrera, who was in our farm system for a good 2 or 3 years. Never really progressed, but obviously he's doing quite well for himself here in Minnesota as he strikes out Dansby Swanson to go down looking. So Cabrera records 2 outs. He doesn't allow any runs, but Cleveland still scores 7. They lead this game 12-0. Going into the bottom of the 3rd, Yanier Diaz lines out to first. Nice play by Jose Ramirez. Ricky Watkins very quietly is having himself a really good day. Edward Cabrera is also doing good as he lets Zane Rowley ground into a double play. So I guess the key for Minnesota was just to have Cabrera pitch all along. Maybe they should have done that 3 innings ago and it wouldn't be 12-0. Into the bottom of the 4th, here's Yordan Alvarez with a single into right center. So far, Minnesota's offense has had no answers for the young kid on the block, Ricky Watkins. We'll see if they can get something going here as this one from Ian Happ is high, deep, and out of here. A 2-run homer for Ian Happ, making it a 12-2 ball game as Ricky Watkins allows the first runs of his big league career. Normally, you'd be a little bit upset, but the Guardians are still up by 10, so I wouldn't really worry about it. Ragnar Erickson now up for the Twins. He goes down looking. Ricky Watkins getting right back to business. You got to have a short memory as a pitcher, and he's showing it off there. Now facing off against Nolan Gorman, and he's going fishing on the high slider. That pitch was well out of the zone, but he still swings at it anyway. Not a bad inning, though, for Minnesota as they finally get on the board, and we go into the 5th. Edward Cabrera is still balling with 2 scoreless innings as he strikes out Jose Ramirez on the circle change. The Guardians have no answer for Edward Cabrera as that'll bring up Kyle Lewis. He's had a big day today, looking to keep it going. This ball is high and deep in the right field, and it is gone. Solo home run for Kyle Lewis, his 2nd of the day, 12th of the season, and it is now 13-2. Edward Cabrera's scoreless inning streak comes to an end at 24 1/3 innings. Still really impressive. Shout out to Edward Cabrera. Happy to see him developing since leaving our organization, although it's kind of a bad look for us. Chiyoko Chakanawara gets that one to deflect off of second base for an unlikely single. This will probably be Ricky Watkins' last inning of the day. Hopefully he can go out well as he walks Jeremiah Jackson. So he's off to a rough start this inning, allowing the first 2 base runners. That'll bring up Yanier Diaz, who grounds it to Swanson, who misses the tag, gets the out at second, but not at first. That's like as close to a triple play as you're ever going to see, but Cleveland was only able to turn 1. We were almost witnessed history. Simon Muzziotti then strikes out on the outside curveball. Filthy pitch by Watkins for the 2nd out of the inning. That'll bring up Ryan Bliss. You guys recognize this name? He singles into center for an RBI. Ryan Bliss is another former Cleveland Guardian. He was the backup shortstop in Season 2, and he was pretty bad. Good to see him producing in Minnesota. As Yordan Alvarez gets a hit into right center, Valera misses it. 1 run scores. Bliss is safe at home. A 2-run double for Yordan Alvarez, who is 3 for 3 off the rookie. And it is 13-5 as Ian Happ will ground out to second. That'll end Ricky Watkins' big league debut. There was some good, there was some bad. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about him being the 5th starter going forward, although he did pitch kind of poorly in those last 2 innings. Luckily for him, he has more than enough run support with the team leading by 8. Dansby Swanson up here. He draws a walk to start the 6th. Edward Cabrera still in the game, which makes sense. He's been pitching very well today. As that'll bring up Jesus Sanchez, who's had a very productive day at the plate. He will reach base once again, drawing a walk. That's a tough pitch to lay off. Up and away, hanging pitch. But now there's 2 guys on and nobody out for Zane Rowley. Rowley hits it well, but it's caught! What a play by Zane Rowley's former AAA teammate, Ryan Bliss, for the first out of the inning. 2 away now, runners on the corners for Marte. He hits this one into the left field corner, and it is gone. 3-run homer for Ketel Marte. The Guardians are now putting a beating on the Minnesota Twins as it is 16-5. That one did not look pretty off the bat, but hey, a homer's a homer. Marte with his 8th of the year, his 2nd of the ball game, knocking Edward Cabrera out, and Blaine Enlow will come in to replace him. 4.38 ERA in about 37 innings this year. Not bad, not great, but serviceable. Ramiro flies out to right. That'll end the inning, but not before Cleveland adds 3 more to extend their already big lead. Camilo Duvall is now into the game here for the Guardians in the bottom of the 6th inning. Last year he kind of struggled, but this year he's right back to the Camilo Duvall we all know and love, but Minnesota's going to give an answer to him. Kyoko Chakanawara with a solo home run, and the Twins are only down by 10. Put your rally caps on, kids. We might have ourselves a comeback. Let's go into the 7th. Jose Ramirez with a moonshot into right. A no doubt about it homer, and it's 17-6. So the Guardians answer right back with a homer of their own. That one went really far, 464 feet. Good Lord. Ramirez with his 12th of the year. That'll bring up George Valera, and he's going to join the party as well. Valera with a moonshot into right, and it is now an 18-6 ball game. Cleveland is treading on a historic offensive pace today. This is honestly incredible. 450 feet for Valera, his 5th of the year, as Barry Ulrich comes into the game here for Minnesota. Zane Rowley is up with a runner on first and 2 away. 1-2 pitch, and Rowley strikes out. So it's 18-6. The Guardians are up big. Let's transition into the 9th inning. 2 runners on, 1 out, same score. Jesus Sanchez draws a walk, his 4th at the game. Sanchez's first 2 at-bats were singles, and his last 4 have all been walks. So now the bases are loaded for Zane Rowley. Cleveland has a legit opportunity to get 20 today as Rowley's going to drive in a run with a single. It's now 19-6. I don't know if I've ever scored 20 runs in a game in an MLB The Show series, so why not make a little bit of the history today? Alvaro Pena up to the plate, rips it into center. That'll go for a hit, and it is now a 20-6 lead for the Cleveland Guardians, and the bases are still loaded with only 1 out. Remarkable. That'll bring up Ketel Marte with a new pitcher in the game. It's Christian Javier. Count is full. Marte grounds it into left for a single, and it's 21-6 with the bases still loaded and still 1 out. I mean, this is just absolutely incredible what we're witnessing right now. Luis Campusano is up for the Guardians, the 2-1 pitch, and he's going to hit this one nicely in a right field that could clear the bases. 1 run scores, 2 runs score, a 2-run double for Luis Campusano, and it is now 23-6. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That'll bring up Jose Ramirez. This ball is skied high and deep into center field. Back at the track, at the wall, it is gone. Are you kidding me? 26-6. The Cleveland Guardians are making history. This is the 29th time in MLB history that a team has scored at least 25 runs in a game, and just the 20th time since 1900. This is the third time in franchise history that the team has done it. The most recent time where Cleveland has scored at least 25 in a game, August 12, 1948. If you were alive on August 12, 1948, I don't know. Put a pineapple in the comments section. Michael McGreevy would pitch the final 3 innings of the game, striking out Yanier Diaz as Cleveland wins this one by the historic final score of 26-6. I mean, the score tells you all you need to know. Our offense was absolutely unbelievable today. We had at least 3 innings of 5+ runs, including 5 in the first, 7 in the third, and 8 in the ninth. We could have just rolled over and stopped, but we didn't really feel like it. Everybody ate, to put it lightly. Everybody on the offense produced. We had, I think, 9 home runs as a team today. 10 different people drove in runs. That's just remarkable. Ramirez, Lewis, and Marte each went deep twice, while Swanson, Ramiro, and Valera also had homers. As for the pitching, Ricky Watkins was solid. I know his major league debut got overshadowed by us scoring 26, but yeah, Ricky Watkins pitched today, in case you guys forgot. Minnesota's offense was fine, 6 runs, 8 hits. That wasn't really the story of the game, more so how hilariously bad their pitching was. Syverson was horrible, Sheffield was horrible, Edward Cabrera was bad, which has been a rarity for him this year. Enlow was horrible, Ulrich was horrible, Javier didn't even record a single out. I mean, just disastrous stuff from the Twins pitching staff. I think this is a good spot to end the episode on a high note. We're back in first place. We just scored 26 runs in a game. That is remarkable. So that's going to wrap up the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.